In this episode, you'll learn about Masters Rowing in South America from Santiago Fuentes. So if you've ever wanted a trip to the region, which includes rowing, listen on.
Feel the grip of the oar handle, smooth yet firm in your hands. Taste the salt of your own sweat and the occasional splash of water. It's all part of the journey. Welcome to another episode of Faster Masters Rowing Radio. Each week, our host, Masters Rowing Coach Rebecca Caro, dives deep into the world of Masters Rowing. Whether you're on the water or in the gym, join us to become a faster master. Let's go rowing.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, I'm delighted to have a guest with me. Santiago Fuentes is a rower. He's a dentist. He's an umpire, and he's also on the World Rowing Masters Commission, which guides the direction of Masters rowing for the sport globally. Overall, he describes himself as a rowing enthusiast and a promoter. Santiago, welcome to the podcast.
Buenos días, Rebecca. Hello, everybody.
So where are you joining us from?
I'm currently in Mexico City.
And obviously, you've been all over the world for your rowing. But for me, and I hope for our listeners, it's really interesting to hear about the whole continent of South America and the Masters rowing scene there. So tell me, which countries have you not rowed in?
Oh, wow. I would say I have visited almost every single country in America. I have rowed in a few, obviously Mexico, Canada, United States, Cuba. I've rowed some in Guatemala and Brazil. So it's pretty much Uruguay and Chile and Argentina. Yeah.
So poor Peru. Peru, quick, put out an invitation.
No. I mean, I've been to Peru for umpiring. I was a president of the jury there for the Pan American Games, but I didn't get the chance to row. Beautiful country.
So give me a big picture. What is Masters rowing like in South America?
Well, it's really interesting. I would say that's a precise word, interesting. And there's one reason. It's not so well known all over the world. And I would say that because for the amount of people that row in South America and for the time they have been active in rowing, there's very little that we know outside of the continent. A few years ago, I was in Argentina. And the moment I stepped on the club that I visited first was the Buenos Aires Rowing Club in the city of Tigre, very close to Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
There was a huge sign, big, that had 1873 on the door. And the building was very British, very, very beautiful building, very well maintained. So you can imagine for how much longer time they have been rowing. And they are huge, and their masters community is huge, and the country is really big. And they spread their enthusiasm to the neighboring countries. That is one of the reasons the masters movement in South America got to be so successful. It started between 3-4 countries, and then it kept that way for many years. The founders of this movement are still alive. They still row. One of them, I rowed with him last year in Uruguay, and he could row 32, 34 very easily. Wow. There's another guy from Brazil, very famous, Odilon Maia. He's 96 years old, and I will meet him next month in Brazil. So from a small friendly movement of masters rowers in South America, starting with people from Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay, it got big and big. This year, they are expecting 800 plus rowers for racing on a regatta for 4 days. And for the first time in history, they will have visitors, rowers from Guatemala, from Mexico, and from Ecuador. So that's a pretty big step
Really?
in masters rowing. And I would say that I really appreciate what they are doing because they're really organized. They're super friendly. They already have 2 years in advance where they are going to go for the next year. And I was in a meeting yesterday, for example, and I would say 90% of the talk was how friendly this racing was going to be, not how competitive. They are very competitive, and you can see that every single year, like starting on South America at the World Rowing Masters Regatta in South Africa. The largest contingent from outside South Africa was from Brazil.
Okay.
And that happened again in Brandenburg. And that happened again in Banyolas this year. And they have consistently been winning trophies on the men's and the women's and the overall trophies for points. So I think they are very humble. They don't speak by themselves of how well they're doing. But in any case, I think the world should know a little more about South America. And the reason I say this is because yesterday they were talking about, hey, listen, if there's any chance for us to invite people from other countries, especially, obviously, American countries, they would be so grateful to have them there. They even talked, and you know that. They wanted to have people from New Zealand and Australia because it's easy to fly from those countries to South America.
It's certainly, you won't know this, but I have actually been rowing in South America. I rowed in Curitiba with someone who I met through Facebook, and we had a very nice time. Those countries that you described are geographically reasonably close to each other. I mean, this is relative, it's a big place. And you're absolutely right that, flights across the Southern Pacific are definitely a good way to go for finding local people who are interested. And I certainly know someone from Europe called Nick Holland who comes to the South American Rowing Championships for Masters. So talk us through, what are the big events? If someone was thinking, I'd like to join and meet those wonderful Brazilians, what times of year and what are the events they should look at?
Oh, well, first of all, the South American Masters Rowing Championship, or Encounter, they call it an encounter. It's happening in 2 months in Paraguay, in the city of Asunción, in the Bay of Asunción. And they are racing from the 9th to the 12th, as I said before. So that's a very big event that we should look into for, especially for not masters inside another regatta. They do have the Argentinian Masters in October, late October. They have the Brazilian Masters in late November. I'm just receiving confirmation for Chilean Masters also in late October. So many of those Masters regatta are happening at the end of the year. The most important one right now is the South American Masters. So if anyone wants to join, either write to you or write to me and find out the website where they can still enter. You are all more than welcome, obviously.
Fantastic. That would be brilliant. So those are the big rowing events, country by country, and then, of course, across the region. So do you bring your own boats, or does it have an arrangement where you can rent boats locally?
Well, some people in South America, just remember it's like a tip of a triangle. So in that tip, it's Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Brazil, and Chile. So they all come together with their own boats, but they're super nice, they're super friendly, and they share boats. So yesterday in the meeting that we were having, they were saying, hey, listen, I have 4 singles and 4 quads, and I would like to have an 8. And then the other guys raised their hand and said, oh, I have 2 8s, and we still have to fill some seats. So there is that. I mean, that matter is taken care of. There is enough boats. Nobody has to travel with their own boats. And there is no boat builders that come and rent boats, and it's super cheap. Trust me, it's just incredible how nicely they have assembled this. For example, this regatta in Paraguay, for $50, you get a ticket for dinner or lunch or dinner on Sunday party. You can race once, and you get a T-shirt, and you get a medal, and you get freebies. So it's really nice. And if you want to race a little more, then you pay like $10 more. It's not a full entry, and that's really nice. The rental of the boat, of its seat, I think it's something around $20. It's super cheap.
Very like here in New Zealand, our arrangement is similar. Your race entry gets you the party, it gets you 4 races, and then if you want to do more than 4, it's $10, I think, for each race. Yeah.
No, and these guys really know how to party. Just a quick comment. Amongst South Americans, they all say, "Oh, I make the best meat, I cook the best barbecue, and I do the best parties." But they all agree that the best meat is cooked or grilled in Paraguay. So that's one thing that has attracted everybody for this regatta.
And you cook it over wood, not a gas bowl.
No other way. No, come on.
I'm from New Zealand. They believe they're the barbecue kings here.
No. Well, maybe lamb. Maybe lamb.
So tell me a bit about the future of what's happening next in Masters Rowing. Is it growing? Do there lots of learn to row courses? Are there new clubs? What do you see happening in the region?
Well, I would say that the history around Masters Rowing in the region is very similar to something that happens either in North America or in Europe or in Oceania. Masters fund the rest of the club. Masters fund youth programs. They buy boats, they buy oars, they buy ergs. They do the big regattas. They fund the spatially expensive events. That is one reason I was saying before that it's a pity that not many people know how much work they are putting in South America to still provide very high class events. And we're very experienced people. These guys in the board of the Masters Commission for South America, it's just something very local. They're 80 years plus people, many of them. They are active rowers. They have been the founders. They are respected people. I would say they have good leadership. And under that good leadership, they are looking into younger generations, and younger means probably 50s, 60s, 40s, into younger generations to keep on doing some good work around rowing. I would also say it's non-political. That is very good. It's super friendly. I was in Uruguay last year, and the plan was to have the regatta for 2027, for 2026 in Brazil. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly these guys from Paraguay say, "Hey, listen, we are celebrating our 100th anniversary. Could you please just let us do that regatta? It's something very important for us." And immediately they switch and say yes. So that is something that it just gets my whole admiration. It's very generous, and they don't fight for stardom or for the red carpet. It's just something really, really nice. Friendly environment, I would say. Yes, also competitive, very well organized. They have, for example, for entries, something very similar than Regatta Central. Mm-hmm. And that Regatta Central does a great job every year at the Masters Regatta for providing that service. Well, this is something very similar. And accommodation, no problem with accommodation. They just found every single thing that they have learned throughout the years in the World Masters Regattas and the ones they're doing by themselves to say, "Yeah, listen, we're ready to put up a bigger event." And just for your information and for people to know if this is important or not, Paraguay submitted last week the first letter of interest to organize a World Rowing Masters Regatta in South America in 2029. So I will be there. I will try to help in every possible way. My commission is super interested. Ron Chen, the chair of the commission, knows pretty much everything about it. And for these past years, they have been very enthusiastic about having something out of Europe. So if Paraguay can put up a good regatta, which I will try to report to you and the masters, um, and say, listen, they are very close. They are 60%, 70% close to what the standards are needed for a World Rowing Masters Regatta. I think we should all support them and say, listen, wow, if South Africa was a success, having all the people right after the pandemic, and we had a great, great regatta down there, profitable, good numbers coming out of one third of the usual number of rowers participating in a World Rowing Masters Regatta, then in a normal year, yes, we can travel to Paraguay.
Yeah.
And they have plenty of places to visit. Just one thing, the Iguazu Falls are 3 hours drive from Asunción, and there's lots of buses going down there.
Iguazu Falls is a world first. Anyone who hasn't been there, it spans the border between Argentina and Brazil, and you can look across to Uruguay, I think, at the very top side, and it's amazing waterfalls, better than Niagara.
Yes, well, bigger, and just the weather is fantastic. It's warm. I would say a little hot. Food is amazing. Hotels are really nice, and let's be honest, masters go all over the world traveling for regattas and finding nice places.
Yes,
but this is something very, very unique. Very. Well, yeah.
I saw the announcement that they were calling for bids for the World Masters Regatta for 2029 and 30. So that will be really interesting. And am I right that World Rowing tries to do it in Europe 2 years and then 1 year outside Europe? Is that the method?
Well, I would say that would be like the beautiful story, to have some years in Europe and then some outside of Europe.
Yeah.
We are trying to not enforce, but look into something that people can understand. It's beautiful to race in Europe, but let's race somewhere else and make it attractive for rowers from Asia and South America and Africa, Southeast Asia, to travel somewhere else and say, hey, wow, we didn't know this was so great.
Yeah. Very good. Well, I look forward to hearing more about that as it comes along. And I'm delighted to hear that Masters Rowing is so vibrant. And are there any final things, Santiago, that you would like to tell people about? You're very enthusiastic.
Well, yes. You know, the Masters community has been growing steadily and strongly all over the world. Bañolas, for example, the last Masters Regatta, which you and I were there, was just about incredible numbers, incredible organizations. They were so professional. They were really, really helpful. All services we asked for to be provided were perfect. I would say perfect. Yes, there's some people still that find little tweaks here and there that can be fixed, and I'm okay with that. This year, Bled in Slovenia, it's going to be way bigger. Why should I say these if I'm promoting South America? Because yes, all over the world, we should look forward into having big events all over, and not only one. If we offer the World Rowing Masters Regatta in September, I would say, why not thinking about having another big one, an invitation, worldwide invitation in South America? Hopefully, there's going to be something coming up in South Africa and Southeast Asia. We need to work all together on these. I really appreciate very much looking into your posts on Facebook and reading what people are doing all over the world, and their Saturday photographs with their friends, and racing in Australia and all over That's the only way to grow. If they follow you, they follow World Rowing, and they follow the World Rowing Masters community, this is going to be bigger. But we have to be organized, really organized. That's key in all these movements. Thank you very much for letting me explain a little or offer you a little about what's happening in this part of the world. I'm very sure I'm not offering something that people would be disappointed.
Yeah.
In fact, if they do travel in a couple of months to Paraguay, they will be surprised how cheap it is to fly amongst the countries surrounding Paraguay. There is one more thing that I want to say. Next year, the South American Masters is going to be in Brazil, Rio Grande do Sul. So if you don't have time for 2026 to come to Paraguay, mark your calendar next year for Brazil. And that's going to be a huge party also. And Brazilians are so festive that you cannot miss having fun.
Well, that is a fantastic offer and definitely something to look forward to. Santiago, thank you for your time and your expertise. It's been a delight having you on the show with me. And to everybody listening, if you'd like to know a little bit more and stay in touch with what's going on in the Masters Rowing community, go to join our newsletter. There are over 7,000 people who get updates each week, and we'll make sure that you learn along with everybody else. Until next time.
We're part of the RowingChat podcast network. Please tell your fellow rowers about the show. If you've learned just one helpful thing from today's episode, please consider supporting the show for as little as $1 per month by visiting fastermastersrowing.com/podcast.